Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today's July 23rd, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. You can clearly see our system out over the Gulf of Alaska, bringing clouds into Vancouver Island, western BC. You'll notice this cloud shield moving across Washington, Oregon during the day today. We'll check out the precipitation we're expecting from the system. You're going to notice the cool down as we go on in through tomorrow and Tuesday, and we'll also take a look at the extended forecast as always. Now looking at the visible satellite imagery, you can see Mount Rainier as the sun rises across the area. A few low clouds out there, but right now we're dealing with some nice sunshine here, even though there is some smoke drifting aloft out of the south here across some eastern portions of Washington, Oregon. But this cloud shield is going to start to show its face here across the region. You'll notice that rolling in through the day today, and you're really going to notice it tomorrow when it brings some precipitation across the area. We'll take a look at those details here in a moment. This is looking at the nice affordable home weather station, and it's all solar powered. It's all wireless. It's got a nice thermometer here that's very accurate. Ultrasonic anemometer. Save 10% off by clicking on the link down below if you'd like one of these. Nice affordable home weather station. And you can see the map. You can scroll all over the place on this map, and you can click any one of these individual locations. Gives you all kinds of nice information, so you can see your own home weather station on this map also. Or if you want, you can keep it private also. Now looking at CTAC yesterday, we did get above average, 81 degrees here. No precipitation, but we're probably going to put an end to this dry streak here as we go through Monday into Monday night. In July, relatively dry here, so we'll take any precipitation we can get, only averaging 0.6 of an inch of rain historically for the month of July. This is looking at the fire weather watch here. You can see the yellow is where these counties are included across Idaho and western Montana as well here. And it's due to the dry conditions coming up here. We're not getting much precipitation east of the Cascades with this system, and we're going to get the breezy winds here. So all it takes is a spark for that fire spread to occur. This was issued yesterday, but it still applies. This is the rain forecast here. National Weather Service Seattle issued this morning, and you can see the Forks, Nia Bay, Olympic Mountains here, Westport, Aberdeen, down the Washington coastline. Lesser amounts for the Puget Sound. Then you get an uptick here across the Cascades, and you're going to get better amounts like, Southwest BC, Vancouver Island here, some of the higher terrain of BC as well. Hopefully that will be very beneficial for the fire season as we go through the August and September months. This is looking at the GFS, 500 millibar heights here, and you can see the system as it scrolls through here, and we've got that frontal system. Then we kind of hang this trough out here. It doesn't allow any kind of a ridge to build on in through this week across much of the area. You can see the ridge across some of the southwest and central portions of the lower 48 as we continue to have this trough bouncing around here. And I noticed something out here in Fantasyland of the GFS, and I just thought I'd point it out. It's purely fantasy right now, but look at the retrograde of this low and then it's troughing, and just this monster ridge building up over the western portion of North America all the way up into Canada here. This would be a very warm solution for much of the Pacific Northwest here, but it's purely fantasy at this point. Now looking at the European, the ensemble mean, we're going to take a look off into the future with this one as well. You can see the current system, the big weather maker we're dealing with. Trough hangs off for a bit, weakens, and then we develop another kind of a trough out here across the Gulf of Alaska, something similar to what the GFS was showing. And you can kind of see that ridging here trying to nudge its way westwards along the immediate coastline as well. But, take that with a grain of salt. We're just looking out in the tea leaves here, way off into the extended. Now back to the actual weather maker here in the short term. 500 millibars, 18,000 feet. You'll see the system rolling in here. And check this out. By the time we go into Monday night, look at this. You're getting some winds over the head here at 75 knots or so. A little taste of what we're going to get during the fall and winter months coming up here, and we'll take it during the late portion of July. You can see the trough kind of hanging out there off the coastline as well, all the way through Wednesday afternoon. More on that trough here in the upcoming days. This is looking at accumulated max 10-meter wind gusts. And check out the Washington coast. You can even get a 40-mile-per-hour gust here as the system rolls through. Maybe even a bit higher off the Vancouver Island coastline as well. Some gusty winds possible across some of the San Juans here. Not bad for July. And, of course, east of the Cascades, some strong westerlies and southwesterlies kicking up that fire danger here. This goes out about through Tuesday afternoon, shown there. Now, total precipitation in inches. Check out the GFS. So we're going to scroll through here. You'll see the arrival as we go through the day Monday. Starting to bring some precipitation. Looks like a 1-2 punch, if you want to call it a punch here. Not a lot of precip showing up in some of the model runs for Seattle. Maybe squeezing out 1/10 of an inch here for Portland. You can kind of see the sharp cutoff there along the Oregon coast. But this would be very beneficial across southwest BC here, some of the higher terrain. Hopefully we can, dampen the forests up there a little bit here and kind of keep that fire danger to a minimum. But you can see the Washington, Vancouver Island coastlines are very favored with the system coming up. Not much precipitation at all to speak of east of the Cascades coming up with this system. This is looking at the high resolution model. You can see all the terrain features along the Cascades. You can see Tiger Mountain. You can see all kinds of individual features. The Olympic Mountains here. You can see the Chehalis Gap across southwest Washington. Now this is 24-hour running total, and you can see it does call for 2 or 3 tenths of an inch here for SeaTac. You can kind of see that rain shadowing going on here. This is the mountain range here, the Olympic Mountains, and as you get some of these downsloping winds here, you can warm things up a bit here to affect just how much precipitation falls there. But as you go further north towards Friday Harbor, Bellingham, southwest BC, or of course the Washington coastline, there's no rain shadowing going on out there, and that's why there is a rainforest here. The only rainforest in the lower 48 states resides right here along the Olympic Mountains, and that is why you slam this moisture into the mountains, and it wrings it out quite nicely here. The whole rainforest would be a nice place to be if you like rainfall coming up here with this system. Now this is like an 850 millibars, so why do you get that downsloping action? Well, it's the winds aloft. You're bringing some winds across the Olympic Mountains there, and you can kind of see them coming across the region here, Seattle north, kind of showing that rain shadow activity there as the downsloping winds dry things out and warm things up just subtly and just a bit there. So that's why you get the rain shadow effect. And of course, the Cascades kind of doing the same thing to eastern Washington there as well, not allowing any moisture to fall across the portions east of the Cascades. This is looking at Everett, and here we go, the European ensemble. You can see virtually all of it has some kind of precipitation going on here. The control has 3 tenths of an inch of rain here. The mean is about 2 tenths of an inch. They're going to be kind of right near that rain shadow activity. This is the Seattle Metro, a little bit lesser amounts as you go south. The mean still calling for 2 tenths of an inch here, and the control 2 tenths of an inch also. I will take it. This is looking at Vancouver, BC. Better amounts the further north you go. Look at the mean up over a half an inch of rain. Very beneficial this time of year. Bellingham, something similar here, about a half an inch, and pretty good ensemble agreement on this measurable precip incoming here. This is Portland. Check it out. The further south you go, the lower your chances get. Control runs around a tenth of an inch. The mean's still around a tenth of an inch, though, so maybe we can squeeze out some measurable precip here, even for the Portland Metro. Astoria, better chances on the northwest Oregon coastline. Check it out. 3 tenths of an inch for the mean, and the control calling for a half an inch of rain there. Tillamook, less odds the further you go south here. Control run 2 tenths of an inch, but we'll take it there if we can get it. But now you go all the way down to Brookings, Oregon here, and only one ensemble has anything at all falling, and virtually no chance for precipitation that far south with this system. Sorry about that down there on the southwest Oregon coast. I know I have a lot of watchers and viewers down there. This is Hoquiam. Check it out. 6 tenths of an inch, 4 tenths of an inch is the ensemble mean there. Nice chances. Friday Harbor, you can see the ensemble, good agreement there as well. Here we go to Spokane. I mean, you could squeeze out a trace maybe. I mean, there'll be clouds around, but there's going to be some pretty good fire danger here, and not much measurable precip showing up at all, even in any random ensemble members. This is looking at the European total precipitation in inches. We looked at GFS already, and you'll clearly see pretty good agreement here, and you can see what areas are favored. Kind of the central Oregon coast, nice cutoff there, not allowing much down into southwest BC or southwest Oregon here. But you can see the good amounts across some of the Olympic Mountains, Vancouver Island, and BC here, the big winner. Some of the Cascades getting decent amounts also. Trying to wring out 2 tenths of an inch of rain or so there for the Seattle area. A little bit better amounts across Olympia and Tacoma there also. Now, this thing at Spokane, even though they're not going to get precip with this, you can clearly see as I've been talking the last few days, it's definitely going to cool them down here. The red is the average temperature for this time of year. 1, 2, 3, 4 days below average here coming up. So, it'll feel nice here, but the gusty winds will increase fire danger. And this is looking at those winds. So watch what happens here as we go through the day today. Some gusty winds are happening on the east slopes of the Cascades. We'll watch what happens on Monday. You'll see this nice surge as we go through the afternoon hours, just rip across eastern Washington. That's the one we got to watch here for some of that fire danger on in through Monday night. Now watch what happens to the relative humidity the same time frame here. We're going into Monday afternoon, and there it is, some low relative humidities. That's going to be the increase in the fire danger there across the region. Now, taking a look at Seattle Metro, 1, 2, 3, 4 days below average here. You're really going to feel this tomorrow. We may not even get to 70 degrees. We'll see how that turns out here. It depends on just how strong the front ends up being. This is looking at 4-kilometer UW model, kind of just showing a really good model agreement that not much is going to happen in eastern Washington, and you see the cutoff there somewhere on the central Oregon coast, and big amounts across some of southwest BC, Vancouver Island, and the Olympic Mountains here. And you can even see the rain shadow effect there across some places north of Seattle also. Now, taking a look at the 2-meter temperature, I'll zoom in here a bit, but this is going on, and this is for yesterday here. You'll notice as we go through the day today, you'll see the Puget Sound warm up, eastern Washington, the Willamette Valley warming up even more here. But as we go on into tomorrow, watch what happens. You can really see the cool down coming for a lot of the region here, and you can kind of see the frontal system here draping down the coastline also. And by the time you get in towards Tuesday, you're going to feel that east of the Cascades as well. Big cool down coming with this system as it rolls across the area. Now, taking a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook, still Pacific Northwest, the one haven here across much of the lower 48 states, or this goes through August 1st. But as you look out towards Seafair weekend here coming August 5th, much of the region above average again, as maybe some ridging starts to build here in the west again. This is 6 to 10 day precipitation, a little bit of a above average signal here. We'll see how this trends. We're not going to worry too much about that right now. An 8 to 14 day. This is Monday here. You can see for NW10, high risk there as those gusty winds and low relative humidities roll across the area. And you can see some other areas today, tomorrow, and Monday too as well are going to be elevated here, mainly eastern portions. So yeah, here we go. Nice system coming in through July. Enjoy this one while it rolls through here, because, we might be dealing with heat wave coming up here at some point in August, and who knows when the next round of precipitation will occur here across Pacific Northwest. But anyway, hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Leave some comments below. We'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.